A confused new moon while reestablishing boundaries. This ought to be interesting. Jasmeen with House of Chiron, and I am here to make the language of astrology digestible for all. Not only am I your favorite astrologer, but I am also your Reiki master and mental health professional. And if you are new to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you will not miss any of the videos or any of the content and things that I upload and post, okay? But if you are returning, welcome back and thank you for always being here and supporting me and this channel and my purpose and my mission. So welcome back. I hope that the first 2 weeks of June was beneficial and helpful, and it had some good vibes and all the good things. I know we had quite a few things that were good and that were popping off at the very beginning of the month. So with that being said, we're going to dive into the last 2 weeks of June. So we're going to be covering the energy for June 16th until June 30th. Okay, so now first starting off, we have a couple of things happening on the 17th that are really important. First and foremost, we have Saturn stationing retrograde at 7 degrees Pisces. So this happens on June 17th, and it will be retrograding back until November 4th of 2023. So it starts around noon on the 17th. And so Saturn retrograde, first off, what is Saturn, right? So Saturn is about structures and discipline, and it builds things. It's also about boundaries and our discipline and whatnot. So, achieving our goals to a certain degree. And so Saturn, when it stations retrograde, it shifts from the external expression into an internal expression. So we will begin to review lessons from the time that Saturn entered into Pisces. So from 0 degrees of Pisces until the current 7 degrees that it's sitting at right now. It literally stands still before it stations retrograde. So Saturn has been like in still motion for quite some time. And so since Saturn is all about lessons, it's the Lord of karma, right? So we're going to be reviewing these lessons, the things that we've learned, the things that we have been trying to build and working on building from the time that it entered into Pisces up until this point. So, that Saturn and Pisces transit is very interesting. It's helping us to recognize that we can make our dreams become tangible, that we do need to have boundaries, not only in the physical world, but also in the spiritual world, right? Certain things like that. So Saturn's retrograde comes to assist us with embodying, or more so integrating, those lessons on an internal level. So we might be having some external expressions about lessons that need to be learned, but internally, how are we going to embody that? Like taking the lessons is one thing to have a lesson, have a situation pop up and understand it logically, but then to embody it and say, okay, I have fully grasped the lesson here, and I can embody it and begin to move differently and begin to show up in a different way. So where I won't have to relearn that lesson. That's Saturn retrograde, okay? So it's helping us to integrate those lessons on an internal level so that we can fully express and live it out in our realities in an external expression. Okay. So Pisces is the ruler of things that are non-tangible, right? So the not so physical realm, whereas Saturn is about building things into physical reality, right? So we're having these two things that are completely opposite working together for us to help us to create the life that we desire, to help build the life that we want, having the boundaries that are necessary, having the discipline and the things that are needed in order to create the life that we want. All right, so look in the Pisces area of your chart to see where you are learning these lessons or relearning lessons or needing to reestablish boundaries in order to make your dreams come true. All right, so now also, this is the big energy of the next 2 weeks. It's this new moon that happens at 26 degrees Gemini. So this also happens on June 17th, but it might be on June 18th, depending on where you are in the world. So Central Time is happening at 11:36 p.m. Central Time. So that's like late evening, but if you're on the East Coast, it's going to be on the 18th, right? So new moon, 26 degrees Gemini. And first off, new moons are always a time for new beginnings, setting intentions and starting something new. It's a new chapter that is unfolding for us. Now, Gemini, what is Gemini? Gemini is the sign that rules intellect. It rules our thought process, our mental capacities, ideas and communication. It's all about, short trips and road trips and skills and trades and things that we've learned from lower level education, that kind of energy. So a new beginning is here, and it's set to begin in the area that Gemini occupies in our chart. So the Gemini ruled area of our lives is going to have an opportunity to restart, refresh, and renew towards this new beginning. But there might be some obstacles that we have to overcome in order to make this thing come to fruition. Right? You might have to come up with a new idea. You might have to communicate something. You might have to make up a new plan or something along those lines. Now, the new moon is also going to be here creating a little confusion, right? So it's a little confused new moon, right? Because it's going to be square Neptune. So Neptune is the planet of illusions and deception and dreams and anything that can create an illusion, right? So Neptune rules things like makeup, right? It rules cinema. So, the media, whatnot, like you can go and watch TV and that's like somewhat of an illusion. So that's a Neptune rule thing. So this moon is going to be square Neptune. So also Neptune can help us dissolve things. So it's helping us to dissolve certain boundaries that create blocks that are also like, keeping us boxed into one thing to where we can't grow, we can't express ourselves, we can't have that sense of adventure, right? And this is happening coming off of that Sagittarius full moon where we were releasing things that kept us from being in our sovereignty or, experiencing adventure. Now this new moon is helping us to push forward in that. It's squaring Neptune, right? So Neptune has that ability to dissolve things, but also it has the ability to, dissolve things in a not so great way to where we just aren't seeing things clearly or there are no boundaries. But Saturn is retrograde also, so keep that in mind. So, it's kind of like playing with each other on the boundary kind of front of things. So also like enforcing boundaries where they are necessary, just kind of make sure that you are paying attention to, those not so good to be true things. You might not be seeing things clearly. It is a very sensitive time right now with Neptune, being square the moon. The moon is our emotional capacities, right? So it's how we respond on an emotional level to the things that go on outside, right? Outside stimuli. Also, it is, our conscious motivations to things. So consciously how we're feeling towards things. So, we might be feeling a little bit off. There might be some situations that come up, some communications that we might take the wrong way, or, ideas might not necessarily be as clear as they need to be in order for us to implement them. I would definitely say like just write it out, wait it out, use things like art, whether you're drawing, whether you're creative writing to set your intentions, things of that nature. So, kind of give it a couple of days before you actually like set anything into motion. There also are some things that could just start off, for you during this time, and they will unfold. What is that? Unfold as time progresses, right? So boundaries could be dissolving that have kept you in a block, kept you, kind of restricted, right? The very Saturn rule thing. So the restrictions are dissolving. But it's still very important for us to uphold our boundaries. So if you have been feeling a little off track, this new moon is going to help you realize where it is that you have been disillusioned in your pursuits. Like I said, boundaries are important not only with people and other situations, right? Interpersonal relationships and things, but they're also essential for staying the course within our own purpose. Also, there might be, you might, be a disillusion, or you might deceive yourself with your thoughts or with your intuition. It might not be as on target as it has been or as it normally is. So Just kind of sit with things before you take action on things. Saying no to the things that do not align with your destiny or your purpose will also help you to stay the course. Okay. So with this new moon energy, the mutable energy is going to be heavily impacted. Right. So that's Gemini, Virgo, and Pisces. Look to the houses where the mutable signs, as well as the air signs, since it's the Gemini energy. So the mutable signs, as well as the air signs, are in your chart. And then air signs are going to be impacted positively, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. So pay attention to any planets that you have in those signs. Also, currently, look where Mercury is. Mercury is also here. Mercury is at home in Gemini. So with Mercury being at home in Gemini, Mercury is the dispositor, or also known as like the ruler of this moon. So just kind of pay attention to the ideas and the Mercury ruled themes in your life, right? So that could be transportation, that could be communication, that could be your siblings, that could be your small business. You know, these things are going to be kind of the focus during this time, okay? Now, moving on, we have the sun entering into Cancer, and this is the start of the summer solstice. So this will be from June 21st until July 22nd. It is officially summer, okay? And it's also officially Cancer season. So happy solar return to all of you Cancers out there. The sun enters Cancer, the summer solstice is here, summer begins. You know, and the solstice is the day with the longest, you know, period of daylight and the shortest of nighttime, right, of the entire year. So when the sun is at its highest point in the sky, that's the summer solstice in the northern hemisphere, right? So Cancer also is, you know, it's Cancer season. So Cancer governs the home, the family, feminine influences, our roots, our traditions. So these are going to be strong themes. Cancer is intuitive, it's strong, you know, it's that sensitive yet tough kind of energy that is Cancer. So it's also important that we are focusing on our sensitivities, that we are focusing on our intuition, that we're focused on home, family, our mothers, the feminine influences and feminine energies in our lives, making sure that you are taking care of yourself, right? Cancer is all about self-care. So recognizing that, recognize your vulnerabilities also, and taking into account that your vulnerabilities is what make you strong. So using this Cancer season to kind of tap into those themes, okay? Now, also, Mercury is going to be entering into Cancer. So Mercury spent like a short, like, I don't know, 15 days, I believe, in the sign of Gemini, just sped right on through, like whatever. Makes sense, right? Mercury in Gemini thinks fast. I have a Mercury in Gemini, so there's that. But Mercury is now entering into Cancer. It's going to be here for another short period of time, and normally is in a sign for about 3 weeks or so. So Mercury is in Cancer from June 26th until July 10th. And so Mercury rules our thought process, mental capacities, communication, you know, social ability. It also rules social media. It's our ideas, our thoughts, and all those things. So our ideas and thoughts are going to shift towards a more home and family oriented approach. So we could be communicating from a softer space, you know, more compassionate in how we speak and how we approach things and what we are going to be focused or thinking about. We will begin to consider others in planning things. Might even be a time where you go like on a family trip or something like that. Family and home dynamics become the center of conversations, but also the center of attention, the center of our plans. It makes sense with all the kids being out of school and moms, you know, having to do what moms do and dads having to do what dads do, you know, taking care of the kids during the summertime. So home and family is going to be the center. Makes a lot of sense. The Cancer area of our chart, also our lives, will receive new ideas and new plans. So just keep note of that. And then we have Neptune. So this is the last thing for the month of June. So Neptune is going to be stationed in retrograde at 27 degrees Pisces. It is almost out of Pisces, y'all. I have no idea what we're going to do when Neptune enters Aries. Lord help us. Okay, so from June 30th until December 6th, Neptune will be retrograding backwards through Pisces. So Neptune, like I mentioned previously, it rules spirituality, creativity. It's the interconnected energy between us all, between, you know, people, and it's illusions and deception and things that are hidden. It's the spiritual world. So Neptune is going to provide us spiritual lessons, growth, as well as our intuitive and spiritual gifts. That's Neptune. When Neptune stations retrograde, we are guided to check in with those lessons that we've learned up to this point. Check in with our spiritual gifts, our creative, pursuits, our creative gifts, all those different things where the growth has happened on a spiritual level. And so that's what we're going to be experiencing during this time that Neptune is retrograde. And Neptune has the ability to dissolve anything, right? That does not align with our soul's authenticity, with our soul expression, our soul's purpose. And so keep that in mind, that there might be some things during this time that Neptune is just dissolving, releasing, completely disappearing, letting it go, right? So Neptune also is the ruler of our subconscious mind. So subconsciously, there might be some things that are being released or let go of or being brought under review. So that might be something. With the veils being so thin, with both Pluto being retrograde and Neptune being retrograde, secrets and things that are done behind the scenes are not going to be able to be done behind the scenes. They're going to be out in the open, in the forefront, in our faces. So, just saying, don't try and deceive people. You're going to be found out. That's all I'm saying. So Neptune also has the ability to keep us trapped in a mental prison because it rules the subconscious mind. And if we choose not to accept reality and live within the illusions that Neptune creates, so you will be kept in that mental prison if you are deceiving yourself, basically, right? Self-deception, that is that Neptune energy. All right, so that concludes all of the transits for the last 2 weeks of June. Okay. Now, before we dive into the readings for all signs, I have a few quick announcements. Okay. First and foremost, it's a quick story time. Okay. So I have an update to give everyone. So we came out of this, full moon in Sagittarius. I had a quick video that I put out there about this, but we had the full moon in Sagittarius. Now, during that time, as most of you all know, if you've been following me for quite some time, you know that I'm a Gemini sun, but I'm also a Taurus ascendant, Taurus rising. So Sagittarius sits in my 8th house, right? And the 8th house is about taxes and debts and, intimacy, joint finances, resources, government money, things like that. It's also the ruler of residual income. That's 8th house. So things coming undone, right? But it's also like sudden reversals. That's 8th house energy. So with this full moon in Sagittarius, I knew that there was going to be a time where I would either launch something or I would be releasing something, letting something go like completely. So either way, or it could be like paying off a debt, for those people, who are having times where they're paying off debt, like school loans, things like that, something like that, right? So anywho, that happened. And then I had a conversation with my friend and my business consultant, Mel. I don't know if y'all know her, but Grow Your Love Space Mel, Mel the Oracle, Full As Human, podcast, like all of the things, right? Mel, phenomenal. So I'll just link her information so you can find her there. So I had a conversation with her. She's been helping me with my business, getting things structured and just being awesome, right? So talking to her about the things that I offer, all of my offerings or services, the things that I am aspiring to launch for you guys, things I'm trying to put out there, things I've just been working on behind the scenes with her and whatnot, things I've been working on for quite some time has actually come to fruition, has actually manifested in a physical thing for you all since I've worked with her, but that's neither here nor there. She's great. That's what I'm saying. So anywho, I was having this conversation with her about what I want to do, where I'm going, my future motivations and whatnot. And we came to the conclusion, I just had to be very candid and very honest with her and just tell her like, hey, with everything that's going on in my life currently, with the transitions and the rapid changes, I feel like I need to let go of the new moon ceremonies, the new moon and the full moon. So the moon ceremonies that I have, the Reiki as well as the new moon. So I've been working on, these things. It was just one last effort of me holding on to my membership, right? And I was like, well, I'm just going to do this and open it up for everybody, right? Instead of me listening to spirit, listening to source, to the most high, my ancestors, my guides, listening to everybody that's been in my ear and in my head telling me what I need to do. I was like, let me just try and hold on to it, right? Well, it's become a thing where I need to let it go, right? So I need to let it go. Not that it's not valuable, not that it's not serving to you all or even serving to me. It's just not in alignment with where I'm going in my business as well as on a personal level. There are many things that I desire to achieve in my life, and I have to make sure that I have the bandwidth and the capacity to do that, right? So it's just not allowing me to do the things that I need to do. I need to just kind of head down, focus. Y'all know I'm in school, I'm getting my master's degree. And yeah, so now we have this Gemini New Moon that's coming up on the 17th. And I have been applying for positions that are in alignment with my degree, with my background, my experience, and also in alignment with where I am trying to go in my personal career, as well as things that are going to help me grow to where I can share and expand what I offer you all. So, as y'all know, I'm in social work, psychology, mental health. That's my thing. That's my jam. So, I've been applying to positions that are in that field of work, that line of work, and I have previous history of working as a vice president of a wonderful nonprofit, Hearts to Heal. And I've taken that experience and I've used that and allowed it to serve me to where I can actually grow. So, long story short, I've been applying for jobs. I've been getting a lot of no's. I got a few yeses, but the yeses that I've gotten did not align to who it is that I am, nor what it is that I really want to do. It just didn't feel right. So I've been saying no to some things. And I've also been receiving a lot of no's and just been allowing the doors to shut. I had to reframe my thought process about, my sense of freedom, my time, and, me working for people. Instead, I'm framing it, I'm working with people, I'm working with organizations to, go after this thing that I'm really passionate about, making change and whatnot. So I did 2 interviews, and the last interview that I had was this past Friday, right before my birthday. And I feel like it went really well. It's a wonderful organization. So, it's just kind of like, okay, if it happens, it happens. If it don't, it don't. There's something else. All right. Keeping that positive mindset and also just making sure that I am remembering who the fuck I am all the time. Right. So, that is that. So I get a phone. Oh, so what I'm saying, going back, I'm having this conversation with Mel. After we come to this understanding of what we're going to be doing moving forward, I get off the phone, I get an email from the organization saying they want to have like a follow-up conversation with me. I'm like, okay, great. So I'm out there. They only said they want to discuss next steps. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe I have a 3rd interview I need to go on or something like that. I don't know. So get on the call, and during the phone call, an hour into the phone call, they offer me the position. So I was really happy. So I'm excited about that. So I have this wonderful new position. I am really excited to begin actually start this position on the day before the new moon. Okay. So very important. And the Gemini new moon is happening in my 2nd house. So the 2nd house represents your income that you make for yourself. And so a lot of the conversations that me and Mel were having were about residual incomes and things like that, and me needing to shift and how I'm going to shift, and what is it that I'm offering, and if it's favorable, if it's valuable, if it's, all of the things, and then what it is that I'm trying to do for myself, right? 8th house is also intimacy, but it's also like other people, things you share with other people, whereas the 2nd house is things you have for yourself. So me having to have this understanding of what I need to do for myself, and what I need to let go of in order to have that sovereignty and that freedom and that sense of adventure to learn something new, right? A Sagittarius energy, Gemini energy is also about learning a new skill, new trade, all of that. So that is this is how this moon energy has manifested for me. So with that being said, the moon events are discontinued until further notice. Maybe I will open them on a more, potent time of the year, like the equinox or the solstice or, eclipse season. I'm not sure. We'll see. Just stay tuned. But also, with that being said, I'm letting something go, but I'm also bringing something back. I'm bringing back the readings. So my astrology readings are open for the summertime, for sure, only for the summertime. Okay. I have the bandwidth to do at least 5 per month. So first come, first serve. So for the rest of June, July, and most of August, I will be opening my astrology readings. They all will be live. So I've changed the structure on how I'm doing them. So that's that. Y'all get me back doing readings. So book your readings, book your natal chart readings and all the things. So you have the option of doing a 60-minute or 30-minute. Go to my website, description box is linked below. Okay, so that is the big announcement and a bit of a story time. Readings are open. The moon ceremonies are discontinued until further notice. And also, as always, get your free PDF astrology guide that's on my website. It's like 30 pages of astrology info for free, okay? You better get it while I got it for the free. All right, now go and do that. So that's all the announcements that I have. Now, let's dive into these readings. Okay, so before we dive, I just want to say, make sure you're listening for your sun, moon, and your rising sign. Your rising is going to be first and primary, as that is the most accurate reading for your sign. Your sun sign is going to be secondary, as that reflects your focus and your goals. And then last but not least will be your moon sign, as that reflects your internal world. It's more subjective. It is more about your emotions, also can reflect your home and family life or your current living situations, okay? So that being said, let's start off with Aries, sun, moon, and rising. We're going to be talking about the new moon and Saturn retrograde. Okay, so the new moon is happening for Aries, sun, moon, and rising. It's happening in your 3rd house. And so new beginnings when it comes to your small business, new changes, a new path. Now, mind y'all, I have an Aries moon. Okay, so after that story I just told y'all, okay, keep that in mind. So new things, learning something new skills, new trades, a new adventure, starting a new business, maybe going on a quick trip, a road trip, something like that. That is, something new beginning during this time where you're going to be traveling a little bit or learning something new. Now, Saturn is also going to be retrograde, and this is in your 12th house. So this has a lot to do with, your mental health and creating boundaries, allowing certain things to dissolve, subconscious patterns. Maybe you have imposter syndrome. Maybe you are having, negative self-talk, things like that. So Saturn retrograde in your 12th house is going to help you to release those boundaries, those restrictions more so, and enforce positive boundaries back into your life. Okay. Now, for Taurus, sun, moon, and rising, this is me. We are going to have the new moon, like I mentioned, in the 2nd house. So new moon in Gemini, 2nd house, it has a lot to do with your income and your possessions. Also could indicate like a new relationship or a new partnership of some sort, whether it's business or however. And so you could be finding new streams of income that's coming in, during this time. Over the next 2 weeks, some things could be panning out and, working itself out for you. Also, you could be receiving new possessions, maybe new pieces of jewelry, things like that. Speaking of, I just got this from my beautiful niece, Braylyn. She makes all kinds of great pieces. It's really cute. I'll put her information down there too. Also, getting new pieces of jewelry. That's also a 2nd house thing. Starting a new diet, a new way of, eating and whatnot. So then also we have Saturn retrograde in our 11th house for Taurus, sun, moon, and rising. So it's in your 11th house. So this has a lot to do with you reestablishing boundaries and developing the discipline that you have with achieving your goals, and also boundaries with friends and large organizations and groups. So Saturn retrograding in your 11th house. 11th house is also nonprofits, right? Nonprofit organizations. The nonprofit I'll be working with, it's a nonprofit, it's a business, it's a nonprofit organization. So that's interesting. Saturn retrograde, reestablishing boundaries, learning lessons about, friends and who you're connected with on a large front, like large groups of individuals as well, and how you go about achieving your goals, being more disciplined. Okay, so for Gemini, sun, moon, and rising, the new moon in Gemini is happening in your sign, in your chart, right? So the new moon is in your 1st house. So this is you showing up in a completely new way, completely different. It's like you being called to be more of yourself, right? That's Gemini in your 1st house, all that. So being more of yourself, being more, using your skills, using things like that, just showing up completely differently, more in alignment, more authentically with who it is that you are. Okay. So you might be changing your wardrobe, changing how you look, changing how you express yourself, how you communicate, how you speak. how you go about moving about the world, also how you view the world, right? That has a lot to do with first house energy, as well as, Gemini is all about perceptions and things. So then we have Saturn retrograding in your 10th house. So lots of review. Maybe you're getting back into work. Now, mind you, I'm a Gemini sun. So these first three on point. So Saturn retrograding your 10th house. It has a lot to do with career, public image. So you could be reestablishing how you were seen on the public front, your responsibilities that you have with the world, right? That you have to the world, and also just how you are viewed, right? Getting more disciplined, looking at being seen as someone in a position of power, or someone that is more stable, or someone that is in a position of leadership. So that's Saturn retrograde in your 10th house. Also just kind of redeveloping your own restrictions, your own boundaries with your career as well. Could be some things coming under review. Maybe you're coming under review for like a higher position as well. A position of leadership at the current position that you hold also. Okay. So for Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising, this new moon in Gemini is happening in your 12th house. So this is the house of your subconscious. It's about mental health. It's about creativity, things coming undone. So new moon, it also could be like, this is a new beginning for you to, be more creative, to also, heal on a certain level. So a new level of healing could be happening during this time. Maybe you're going to be, dissolving a certain aspect of yourself in regards to like feminine influences, feminine energies. You might be looking to travel during this time. Maybe you're moving away. Maybe you're moving to like a new location. This could be manifesting over the next 6 months to a year or something, right? So also, we have the Saturn retrograde in your 9th house. The 9th house is about long distance journeys and travels and whatnot. So there might be some things coming under review about you going back to school, or going on like a long distance journey or a trip, or moving abroad, or maybe you're going to be meeting someone, or just becoming just more disciplined in your beliefs and understanding what your beliefs are and how you want to go about, living in this world and things like that. Okay, so for Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising, this new moon in your 11th house, right? New moon in Gemini is happening in your 11th house. So this is a new beginning when it comes to friendships, how you go about achieving your goals, your material gains. Things could be coming into you, maybe inheritances and things like that. Just go about how you are affiliated with large organizations. And also 11th house represents social media, people that you don't necessarily know on social media, but you could be reaching a different crowd, during this time. So this could be manifesting for you over the next 6 months to a year as well. And then Saturn retrograde is happening in your 8th house. So this has a lot to do with like joint finances and shared resources, debts and taxes, becoming more financially disciplined, restructuring your money, how you receive money, your resources, things of that nature. Maybe you're going to be coming under review of like your credit, or, your residual incomes, things like that. Or maybe your partner's finances are going to be coming under review, or there could be like money that was owed to you that could be coming back, or something like that. Okay. Now, Virgo, Sun, Moon, and Rising, this new moon in Gemini is happening in your 10th house. So this could indicate that you are going to be experiencing a new career, a new public image. Something new is coming about with how people see you on the public front. Your responsibilities to the world are going to be shifting and becoming different. It has a lot to do with your career as well as like your goals and things that you are trying to obtain. Maybe you're going to become a teacher during this time, or you're going after a new pursuit in like a small business, because Gemini rules small business. All right. So for Saturn, retrograde is happening in your 7th house, Virgo. So 7th house happens to be about, your commitments, commitments and relationships, partnerships, things like that. Now, it could be intimate partnerships and relationships, but also could be business partnerships and relationships. So you're going to be reestablishing boundaries and connecting in a different way when it comes to the commitments that you've made, maybe contracts that you've signed. So maybe a contract is going to be coming under review, things like that. Or maybe it was a contract that was already set in place and now it's coming back under different terms. So that might be a thing. All right. So for Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising, this new moon in Gemini is happening in your 9th house of long distance journeys, travels, higher education, your beliefs, your purpose, your life path. gurus and mentors. So you might be receiving a new mentor, or you might become a new mentor, or you might be embarking on getting into school or studying for something, that's within school. Or trying to figure out how to develop more discipline when it comes to higher education. You might also be going on like a long distance journey or a trip or something along those lines. It could be that you're meeting someone that it could be an intimate kind of situation, or it could be that you are going on a long distance journey for work, right? Because Saturn is retrograde also on the same day in your sixth house, and the sixth house is your work, sixth house is your routines, it's also your health. So there might be some things coming under review about your health, your routines, your work habits, the people you work with, maybe even your pets. There might be some things coming under review with just your day-to-day living. Maybe your health situation also could be coming back under review, where you have to develop a sense of discipline and order with that. Okay. So for Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising, the new moon in Gemini is happening in your 8th house of joint finances and resources, debts and taxes, government money, residual income, intimacy, things that are about unity, right? Coming into union with someone. So this might be a new way of creating income, right? Or your partner could be having a new stream of income coming in. Also, this could indicate that you could be making more money for doing goods and services, or finding a new way to do so, and just kind of like working that out. Also, this might be that you come up for a loan, to get a house or something like that, or government grants or government funding, something along those lines could be happening for you during this time. Or you could just be embarking on like a new relationship, right? Just a new phase of your relationship, whether you've been engaged and now you're married, or you're been, just dating or courting and now you're engaged. Like that could also be something that is happening for you during this time. Now, Saturn retrograde is happening in your 5th house. So this is like a review of, romance and, developing boundaries within like romantic situations or within dating, or just reviewing how you have been, restricted on, fun and joy and hobby. So you might be going back into getting into some things that are fun, or just reestablishing and redeveloping a romantic situation or a romantic partnership, but also boundaries and structure for your children, if that's applicable to you, if you have children. So that could also be something, especially like I said, it's summertime. Kids need boundaries, they need structure. All right. So now Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising. This new moon in Gemini is happening in your 7th house. And this is the house of marriage and partnerships, and also business partnerships and commitments. So this might indicate that you are getting engaged, or that you are getting into a new relationship, a new commitment, but it also could be business partnership as well. It doesn't necessarily have to be an intimate kind of connection. Could be that you're getting a new best friend, or you're reconnecting with your best friend, or something along those lines, right? So new commitments, these things are manifesting for you during this time. Now, Saturn retrograde is happening in your 4th house. So you're redeveloping things when it comes to your home and family, your traditions, your roots, feminine influences in your life, and just how you go about things. Also, the 4th house represents real estate. So you might be going under like a contractual review for your home, if you're buying a home, or if you're building a home, or, reviewing like your lease agreements, or renewing your lease, or something like that. So that's all high possibilities. Or it could be that you're rebuilding or redeveloping, restructuring, redecorating your home as well, just setting different boundaries within your home. Okay. So for Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising, the new moon in Gemini is happening in your 6th house. And this is the house of your day-to-day routines, your health. This has a lot to do with your work, your employees, just how you interact on a daily basis. It's also the house that rules pets, right? So you could be getting a new pet, or this could be a new beginning with your pet. You could be starting a new job, or just having a different schedule day to day, right? You might be doing some traveling. You might be doing some, quick trips, road trips, and things like that, traveling for work or however. New moon means in the 6th house could also mean that you have, a new way of living, healthy living, a new diet, a new exercise routine, also maybe new employees, someone for you to train, or you're getting trained in a new position or something like that. Saturn is retrograding your third house, and the third house represents skills and trades. So it could be that you're reestablishing or redeveloping or relearning or developing some type of discipline and structure within the skills that you already obtained, or learning something new, how you're going to be going about studying something. Maybe even developing, getting the structure aspect of things going on with your small business, if that is something as well. Okay. So Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. This Gemini New Moon is happening in your fifth house, and this is the house of children and intimacy. This is the house of fun, joy, hobbies, creative self-expression. So you could be launching a new project or starting something new, or showing up in a completely different way or completely new way with how you go about expressing yourself on a creative front. Just more so aligned with your own authenticity, right? Something along those lines. Also, maybe this is possibly where you're having children, right? So fifth house, new moon, fifth house could be a time where you're starting to have children, or you come into the idea like, hey, I want to have children. I want to expand on my home. Also, you could be coming into new romantic partners if that's applicable to you as well. Now, Saturn is going to be retrograding your second house. And so Saturn retrograde is going to have you reviewing and reestablishing boundaries when it comes to your finances, right? Money that you make for yourself, how you go about doing that, becoming more financially disciplined and stable, right? That Saturn retrograde is showing you, okay, what lessons have you learned with your money? What is it that you have been creating and developing for yourself? Now, what is it that you need to implement? What boundaries do you need to set in order for this to become, long-term tangible, right? So that's, that's Saturn. Saturn is all about things being here for the long term, for the long haul, right? Okay. So last but not least, we got Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Rising. So Pisces, this new moon in Gemini is happening in your fourth house. And so this is the house that represents home, family, real estate, your traditions, your roots, your values of that nature, feminine influences. So you could be coming into a new home. You could be moving. You could be, redecorating or moving to a new place or just relocating, things like that. Now, also just a new beginning happening in the home or with a feminine influence in your life, right? That is also something. Now, Saturn is going to station retrograde. And that's going to be in your first house, right? Because it's in Pisces. So Saturn is going to be retrograding back to your first house. So it's going to have a lot to do with your self-discipline and, developing your own boundaries within yourself. You might be chiseling out, right? So Saturn in the first house can make you smaller, right? It restricts things. So it could be restricting your actual body to where like you're becoming more defined, muscular, or you're just kind of chiseling out or becoming more disciplined within your routines, your exercise routines. And so from that, like you're becoming more, that's the best way I can put it, chiseled, more healthy, right, in that regard. So this could also be just you kind of showing up in how you need to be more forward, more disciplined, more, setting boundaries around yourself, also becoming more serious about who it is that you are and how you show up and how other people see you. So you could become more professional, more like a boss kind of thing. Okay. So that is all that I have for you for the rest of June. I hope that this has been beneficial and helpful. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of the month. Make sure that you hit the description box for all the things that I have down there, as well as make sure that you sign up for your readings. Remember, they are first come, first serve. I'm only doing 5 per month. And then, I'm done for that month. That's all the bandwidth that I have. I'm starting new things and whatnot, but House of Chiron will always remain, okay? Unless something wild and crazy happens, but whatever. So make sure you go to the website and get your free ebook. All the astrology things is in that ebook. And what else did I say? Readings. Oh, and the new moon ceremonies are discontinued until further notice, okay? So that is all that I have. I hope that y'all have a wonderful month, and I will see you in July. Bye.